I must have glanced at the empty chair every 15 seconds throughout the meal. Every so often, I thought I saw a glimmer of movement in it from the corner of my eye, but once I turned and looked at it, there was nothing there. I figured it must have been my lack of sleep, or a trick of the light in my peripheral vision. I should have connected it with the similar pheromone in my apartment the previous night, but Kilday had my full attention now. He was stuffed himself as his fish tacos and talked about his backyard. He had grown up in the Southwest, Albuquerque, Fort Worth, El Posto, and eventually Phoenix. He said he was a fat kid growing up and never had friends or money. I started wondering if his wealth was all his partner's. He said he worked now as a travel consultant, but stopped shortly of describing what kind of companies he consulted for. Once I finished my sea bass, he asked me about myself. What kind of name is Oprah? He asked. I mean, it's cool and all. I've just never heard it. Ha! I exclaimed, laughing with asparagus still in my mouth. By then, I was on my third vodka soda, and like I said, I'm a lightweight. It's Oprah's, a bird. It's a Seawalk. So, you know, the Seattle Seawalks? You're actually watching the Seattle Oprahs? He seemed kind of blown away. That's rad. The last girl I dated was named Jasmine. Oprah is way cooler. Had I been sober, I might have seen that as a red flag. He talked like a single guy, even though it was supposedly his anniversary and we were waiting for his partner. And the insinuation supposed to be that maybe he and I were going to be dating. That all slipped right by me. I leaned across the table and I'm so embarrassed. May I backed my eyelashes at him. So am I supposed to call you Mr. Kilday Brandon? You can call me whatever you want. My last name is pretty sick though. Cheers to that, Mr. Kilday, I said and held up my now empty glass, which he cackled with his. My last name is Pavender. I rocked back on the chair legs and started laughing. My bland last name must have seemed especially funny to me for some reason because I almost started crying. He chuckled and signaled to Terry for another round of drinks. It's not that bad, girl. Nothing wrong with Pulvender. Of course it's not. I play hit him so the shoulder, which he didn't react to. Suddenly, he was a serious one. I quickly bolted my eyes with the napkin. Are you alright today? He asked. It seems like something's bothering you. I get it though, dealing with all these people. Little did he know the Pandora's box he just opened. I widened my mouth and began. Don't get me started. It's like you learn who people really are when you see them every day in the industry that civilizes dishonest behavior. People know if they're a bitch, you'll give them free shit. You know, most hotel guests create all their own problems. Like, it's not my fault you simply assumed every room has an ocean view and didn't look at what you booked. They're clearly labeled online garden view, partial ocean view, and full ocean view. How many sides does a building have? At least 4. Every room can't face the ocean. What's that? You've been here for 2 hours and your room isn't clean, so now you want a free upgrade? That's because you arrived at 9 a.m. Check-in is at 4 p.m. It says on our confirmation, the previous guest in the room, who probably trashed it, has to check out by 11 a.m. By then, the housekeeper has to clean it. and she probably has 8 other rooms to get through by the day. It takes time. It doesn't matter how long you've physically been here. Well, you should have just cleaned them the night before, you say. And do what? Leave half our inventory vacant every night? Great way to run a business, asshole. I took a breath and kept going. These people are so selfish, sarcastic, petty, and insecure, like they're giving themselves orgasms by being cruel to employees they know can't talk back to them, or how they love to stand there making up all their time telling you about how many houses they visited and how many countries they visited, or how they once worked at a hotel for a summer in college. But look at them now. Look how far they've come. And if you, meaning me, if you just apply yourself, then maybe you too can just become awesome and rich and successful as them. It's what an inspire fucking nation. All of it just to gratify their ego. They all just want to have more than whoever's in the room next to theirs. They're all children. It's like you grow up being taught how you act like an adult, but once you are an adult, you act like a child. Except you found all these stupid ways to rationalize it. I think sometimes it's made me just, you know, hate people. Just in general. I'm sure there's some good ones, but like you and me, Kilday interacted. I don't even know about that. You maybe, but okay. Can I tell you something I've never told anybody? Like, you can never ever tell my coworkers this. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you. So, there was this kid who worked here named. I stopped myself. Not because I was being cautious or knew I was getting carried away, but because Terry had returned with my 4th vodka, soda, and whatever number whiskey Kilday was on. He leaned in close and whispered to me, "You okay, Opre? Sure you can handle another one?" "Thank you, Terry, I'm sure." Terry studied me for a second. "Drink some water, okay?" He was about to walk away, but froze for only a second or two, looking at the empty chair for Kilday's partner. Despite his occasionally dirty mouth, Terry was an old religious man who always knew how to comfort you. But for that one moment, I saw a level of fear in his face that was aligned to me, like it was a mask. Like the light in his eyes were exerted permanently. I've never seen that look on someone before. Then, as if he'd imagined whatever was there and he saw, he looked away and went back to the kitchen, quietly mumbling to himself. "That waiter a right?" Kilday asked. "He's fine. He's just old," I said, taking another sip of water and a longer sip of vodka soda. So this kid working here named Dustin, well, he was in his 20s, but he's just like a kid, and he was just short, scrawny guy with a buzz cut who was always over the top nice to everyone. Like he'd write these long handwritten letters to guests he helped and would personally deliver them to their rooms before he went home. And everyone who worked here just thought he was the best, most special person ever. He was always nice to me, and I was nice to him, but he was so annoying. He spoke fluent English, but you could barely understand him. He was always like this native little child's book character walking around. Do you know how frustrating it is when someone tries so hard to be your friend every single day and gives you hugs in weird times, but you just want to stay away from him, but you can't do that, and you can't even say anything because everyone else is his friend, and if you talk badly about him, then they're all going to think badly about you. Like other people must have thought he was annoying too, right? But they made him Employee of the Year last year, and then he shot himself in the car in the parking lot 2 days later. Nobody knows why. Maybe his life at home was bad. We still don't know. That's happy, said Kilday, listening patiently. And you know what my first thought was when I heard he was dead? I was relieved. I thought, good, now I don't have to talk to him anymore. How fucked up is that, right? Who has thoughts like that? What does that say about me? And you know, that's scary. I see him all the time. I see him in every mirror in the hotel. It's like he's sticking around just to remind me I'm a bad person. Kilday scrunched his eyebrow. I couldn't read him. Are you saying he's a ghost? Or do you think it's all in your head? He asked. I answered honestly, I don't know. But the more it happens, the more I lean towards it not being all in my head. I suddenly didn't want to drink anymore. I felt my emotions coming on thick and heavy. You probably think I'm crazy now. He was surprised. I don't. I've never seen a ghost or whatever, but I always said if I met someone who had, I would take them seriously. I felt this warmth coming from him, that despite all my venting, that he got me. But then, for the first time all evening, I saw Kilday's eyes shift to the empty chair. It wasn't for long, but the way his mouth spurred apart and how his eyes quickly shot back at me, it was like he had acknowledged someone sitting there. Then he stood up. I gotta pee. Don't go throw down with some guest now, he said with a smirk as he walked off. I watched the chair suspiciously, wondering if I could somehow focus on the space in front of the chair rather than the chair's back. Then maybe I could see whatever Kilday and Ted saw. It was useless. I was trying not to blink, staring in the air. I felt a headache coming. It was too early to be drinking vodka at this time. We'd been there only an hour. I needed caffeine. My day had been so crazy. I hadn't stopped to drink any since the morning. The headache was a withdrawal symptom. I was so dependent on it that my brain stopped working properly without it. I could ask Terry for a Coke when he came back. Even that would be enough.